Welcome back. I'm joined by Gabby Sparks, the only 3-0, I guess you could say first place in the league right now with a bye. How are you?
Good. How are you, David?
I am great. Did you watch the last match?
Yes, I feel like I'm still on an adrenaline hype from it. It was really good.
I'm questioning my own magic ability, really. I'm just like, man, why do I even play this game if there's players that good playing the game right now? I mean, I enjoy it, but I'm just so shocked at how like, even while me and Paul were watching, we both didn't see things. We're like, oh, okay, this game's probably over, and then Josh just wins it. And just so many different nuances that we didn't pick up on. It makes me just really just question why I play. But
yeah, I would have lost that game easily.
yeah, me too. Either side. No matter which player I was, I would have lost the match, I think. So right now we've got Gerard and Paul. Gerard on his blue-black control and Paul on black-red dragons. Can we check out Gerard's deck list? Okay, well, we don't have it. Okay, here it is. Gerard's deck list. Are you familiar with this matchup at all, or with either of these decks?
I'm familiar from looking at them, but I haven't really played either of them too much or almost any.
So Gerard looks like pretty standard blue-black control. I know he's known for Sultai control. It looks like he's taken sort of the green out in the Sultai charms and went with straight blue-black control. He's got the standard 2 Ashioks, 1 Ugin. Only 1 Sulamgar the Drifting Death, the hexproof 3/7 or 3/6, 3/7, 3/7, right?
Yeah.
3/7, 4 Heroes Downfall, which are going to be huge, allowing him to take out any of the dragons. Bioblight and Language, which is good for the Hangerback Walkers, and Silence the Believers, which can exile them. Couple Clash the Wills, which not a card you see a lot of, but I think it's going to be great in this matchup because a lot of Paul's threats are expensive, and he's going to tap out a lot.
Yeah.
It's going to allow him to have a 2-mana counterspell. 2 Perilous Volt, a Murderous Cut. I mean, it looks like he's got the tools he needs to combat the dragons.
Yeah, it's interesting. It looks like Gerard's main deck is pretty good against Paul. He has a lot of very good answers to a lot of the things that Paul wants to be doing, even ways to clean up, just a lot of the things that Paul's going to be doing in this matchup.
Yeah, I think if Paul had, say, the smaller creatures that you have, that might allow him, in your Mardu Dragons deck, it might allow him to get the jump on Gerard and kind of put the pressure on him so that when Gerard's reacting to the threats, he can reload with more. But because his deck is sort of on the expensive side, other than the Hangerback Walkers himself, I think it's going to be a little slow. I mean, the Draconic Roars don't even really have any targets, right? Those only a creature, and there are no creatures.
Yeah, the only targets that I think Draconic Roar's ever going to have is if Ashiok gets anything into play, which is not even that likely. So Paul has a lot of dead cards in Game 1 against him.
Yeah, which is pretty unfortunate. Let's check out Paul's list for his black-red dragons. So I've been seeing a lot of this list lately, actually. I played against it here in Vegas a few times, and it seems
How do you like it?
I prefer Mardu Dragons. I like what the white creatures provide, but it is an interesting take to have better mana and just be able to play, not really have to worry about as many coming to play tap lands and to have Hangerback Walker, but I just feel the deck is better suited as a Mardu deck. But,
yeah, I know what you mean. It seems like from playing this deck, I've been playing it, a lot of times you lose to, I don't know, it's hard to describe. You are dying right about the same time you're about to cast a dragon, and sometimes to just not having your colors right. So having a nicer mana base does seem pretty good, but at the same time, I like the consistency that this gets. You get access to things like Downfall, that's a really good catch-all to a lot of problems. Bioblight too. I actually thought about bringing this deck.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this deck really preys upon small aggro decks, or maybe like Abzan aggro. It's like it has the tools that are really good to compete against that. Unfortunately, I think he was matched up against Gerard with blue-black control. Although, like I said, I think if you know your opponents, he knew he was playing Gerard, there's a lot to be said. It's kind of like a leveling game. Is Gerard going to show up with his Ashiok deck? And if so, do I want to be ready for that? Or is Gerard going to throw a curveball and show up with something totally un-Gerard-like? So who knows, how deep the leveling went, but it looks like Gerard showed up with what we expect, and Paul's got a tough road ahead. But I think if he's able to pull that out in the next round, he's going to be able to play Rietzel, which is, definitely not going to be playing a blue-black control deck. Everybody who knows Paul Rietzel knows that's not the style he's playing. So I think he took a little gamble here and figured if he's able to get past it, then he's probably going to have a decent matchup against Paul. All right, so I think, let's see, are the players ready?
I don't think so.
Not quite ready yet. No,
I don't think we're quite ready yet.
I had it on the...
Have you played with either one of these decks very much?
I played a lot of blue-black control practicing for the Pro Tour.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really my style of deck, so I wasn't really. I just feel that the way Magic is designed right now, it's better to be active and proactive instead of reactive. In a lot of the blue-black decks, if you just have the wrong answer at the wrong time, you find yourself losing. I mean, a lot of players with extreme patience have done well with the deck plenty of times. I just don't think it's suited to my style. Mm-hmm. I do like the black-red Dragons deck, but like I said, I've had more fun playing Mardu Dragons and more success with it, so I think I personally would have shown up with Mardu Dragons, but I do like the look of black-red Dragons. I mean, it's dragons. Who doesn't love dragons?
Yeah, for sure. Something that I noticed that's a little bit a little bit awkward for Gerard is that Paul has a good amount of Kolaghan's Command in his deck. That's pretty awkward with Vault. It's really bad if they just kill it.
With what? I'm sorry, I missed.
With Vault, he has Perilous Vault.
Oh, with Perilous Vault. Yeah, I mean, tapping out for Vault and getting it destroy target artifact is pretty brutal. But I don't really think. I mean, it's like if you set it up, it's going to be hard for. I think it's more of a late game card. He's going to be able to do it when maybe 9 mana. He's got Languish, he's got Hero's Downfall. He has enough removal early enough where he may not need to Vault. But yeah, the Kolaghan's commands are definitely. I mean, even just making him discard a card is pretty huge right now.
Right. And Paul's going to have that card in pre-board, post-board, etc. So that's just something that Gerard has to be careful with because Vault is the only way for him to deal with Outpost Siege if it lands. So Outpost Siege is a pretty big problem for Gerard.
Yeah, I'm looking to see what else. I'm looking at their sideboards. I mean, Gerard has Duress, which I think seems great. I mean, you can take the commands and the Outpost Sieges. Foul Tongue, Invocation, more removal for dragons. Disdainful Stroke is great because every card in his deck almost costs 5, so I see those coming in. So it looks like after sideboard, he's got some good cards. I'm trying to see what Paul really brings in other than Duress and Read the Bones.
The Chandra's probably.
Yeah, he's got a Chandra, 2 Duress, and a Read the Bones.
Yeah, for sure. So it's interesting. Yeah, Gerard has a very good and encompassing sideboard.
All right, so here we are. The players are up. It looks like Cheon won the roll and has mulligan. Nope, he didn't mulligan. He already played his land. I didn't see that in play. He does have an Outpost Siege and a Thoughtseize in hand. No early threats. And Gerard's hand is, let's see, he's got a lot of land in Ashiok that he can land on turn 3 that we don't see an answer in Paul's hand to.
Yeah, that Ashiok looks pretty good right here.
And it looks like a Jace's Ingenuity is that sliver of art I see on the left.
Yeah, that definitely is. Yeah, these are reasonable hands.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Paul's deck, Cheon's deck, can't really go fast. I think the slowness of the hands is going to play into Gerard's.
Yeah, I thought you and Paul kind of touched on that, and I think it's very true. My deck tries to get on the board very quickly, but, Paul's just not going to run over Gerard in any way. He just can't get on the board that quickly, so the game's likely to go pretty long.
And cards like Dig Through Time and Jace's Ingenuity are really going to allow Gerard to take over. So now he has a choice. Does he want to get a Hangerback Walker on the board early or just go for the Thoughtseize? I think you want to just go ahead and Hangerback Walker because there's
I was going to say, I think Hangerback looks pretty good here.
Yeah, I think if you were on the draw and he could untap and play a turn 3 Ashiok, then you might Thoughtseize, but being on the play, there's not really anything for 2 mana he can play.
Yeah. Is there also a Swamp? Yeah, there it is. A Swamp in Gerard's hand. We still need to fit all of his hands on the cam. There you go.
Alright, so now we have a Thoughtseize.
So what do you take here, if you're Paul? Sorry, if you're... Yeah.
I'm probably taking the Ashiok. Well, he did draw Downfall, so now that he drew Downfall, I think I'm taking the Jace's Ingenuity because you can kill the Ashiok with your Downfall. Mm-hmm. And the Downfall, if it kills your Hangerback Walker, that's fine. You're going to get some tokens. And Clash of Wills, when you know about Clash of Wills, it's a lot easier to play against.
Yeah, for sure. And it's such good card advantage. You just kind of shut it out.
Although there could be an argument to take the Clash of Wills so that he can't counter your Outpost Siege.
And when if they take the Clash of Wills and then try to land the Outpost Siege and hope he doesn't draw a Vault? Or like that he draws you enough cards so that it doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
But then again, I think if the way it plays out, if he plays Ashiok on 3, you can untap, play your 4th land, and play Outpost Siege.
Oh, yeah, he took the Clash of Wills.
Take the Clash of Wills.
So yeah, his plan must be... Yeah.
So yeah, he's got Downfall. The Jace's Ingenuity takes so long to take effect that I think he's just willing to not worry about that battle. And wow, he drew Dissolve, but he doesn't have an untapped blue source, so he won't be able to dissolve the Outpost Siege. But that would have been, I was talking about, Paul, when you thought see someone and you think you're safe, and then the card they drew in that one-turn window.
Yeah, and then it's just like the same card that you took, or just sometimes worse. That was interesting. We also saw Paul main phase tap the hanger back because he knows he's safe to do it. He just saw his hand. That way he makes sure that he can keep another Thopter in case it does die.
Right, yeah, he doesn't want to have him respond and downfall it and only get 1 token as opposed to 2. So I think Gerard's debating which land to play. Does he want to leave up downfall mana, or does he want to prepare for Dissolve next turn?
Yeah, and it's a little awkward too because he knows about the Ashiok.
And if he leaves up downfall mana, then he's unable. Wait, where is the Ashiok?
Wait, where's the Ashiok? I don't think it's in the can, but it's not what was taken with Thoughtseize, so it has to be there?
He took the Clash of Wills. There was an Ashiok. I kind of see a sliver of Ashiok next to his name, but I'm not sure what happened to it. But I think he has an Ashiok in his hand, so if he wants to play the Ashiok, we also lost. Yeah, I think the other
Ashiok was played in. Oh no.
No, I think what it is his hand is those 5 cards plus the Dismal Backwater and the Ashiok, and it's just scooted over maybe. Looks like the players were disconnecting and reconnecting. We were having some technical issues with the hand cams or with Magic Online itself. I'm not sure what they're doing, but yeah, I mean it's a weird situation with your lands coming to play tap because you want to leave up Dissolve, but you can't. This is what I was talking about, being reactive at the wrong time. Like you don't have the mana, and you want to play your Ashiok, but then more threats get on the board that you have to try to deal with and clean up.
Yeah, and he also doesn't have a good way to get rid of all of them. Like he doesn't have a vault right now, and a lot of his answers are in the form of counterspell. So that's pretty awkward if you let them land it.
Yeah, I think at this point, if he plays Ashiok and ticks it up, he's got to expect it's the reason it wasn't taken is because he has an answer to it. But I think then Cheon can decide. Okay, so we
there it is. So Ashiok was played, and wait, a lot has happened. So yeah, Siege is in play. A dragon was played and killed, and Ashiok was played and killed, and
Outpost Siege was resolved.
Yeah, now we're seeing Magma Spray off the top. Is that an old art Magma Spray? I think that's what it is, right?
Yeah, and I believe there's no target. Right? There's no target for Magma Spray, and he also has one in his hand. Oh wait, he drew that one from the.
It's from the sea.
So he has two dead cards, which is unfortunate. So with Magma Sprays and Draconic Roars, he has so many dead cards.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about too. Just Paul has a lot of dead cards in game 1. Like Magma Spray does nothing. Searing Blood might do something if there's ever a creature in play, which might not ever happen. Just a lot of dead stuff.
So yeah, so this is the spot where Gerard's doesn't really have anything to play. He can counter a spell or he can Jace's Ingenuity, but Paul doesn't have to, Paul doesn't have to play anything else. He's got a Hanger Backwalker doing work, and he's drawing 2 cards a turn with the Outpost Siege. So he can just play his free card with the Outpost Siege and keep building up a hand. So it's almost like he's got his own Jace's Ingenuity.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing Paul has to be a little careful with is, a vault and destroying in the same turn. He wants to make sure he can kill his Hanger Backwalker and not just lose all the tokens, because he's invested so much into this walker right now.
So he attacks for 3. He's going to go ahead and play a dragon, which forces Gerard to counterspell, so he's not able to use any of his card draw spells.
Yeah. And that seems like a really good turn to do it. Just a turn that they're either gonna have a choice, right? They either get to draw their cards, or dig, or deal with a card that you just played.
I think Gerard's just looking for a Languish here, or some kind of removal spell, so he didn't counter. He chose to draw 3 because he sees that if he does counter, he's still not dealing with the problems at hand, and he's still going to be in the same position next turn.
Yep.
So he's like, I think he took the risk. He's like, I'm just going to draw 3 and try to find a removal, like a mass removal spell.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he found anything. He found a lot of lands. Is that correct? Yeah.
It's like he's got 3. He drew 2 land in Ashiok, and his draw phase was another land. So
yeah,
he's in trouble.
You can clearly see the power of Outpost Siege here. It's very, very good right here.
Yeah, Ashiok's not good at dealing with a board state already developed, and it's good on an empty board, and then your opponent has to try to answer it, and you can react to those answers. But right now, playing Ashiok, Cheon can just ignore it and attack for 7 if he chooses.
Yeah.
Wants to.
For sure, I think Ashiok is just like the least of his concerns at this point.
He's got a Dash Dragon in his hand that's going to add 7. He can attack for
so much damage. 14. Oh my god.
But he's able to leave up Dissolve. He had nothing else to really do anyway, so he left. Played the Ashiok, was able to remove a dragon that he can cast next, or he can play off the Ashiok next turn. So it does kind of force Cheon to attack it.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So we got a free land off the Outpost Siege.
Outpost Siege is even good for cycling these cards that are dead cards against, like, in the matchup, right? He was gonna draw to, you know, Magnus Brace, doing nothing. Yeah, so this gets countered.
Let's see, I'm trying to think. I mean, I think at this point you kind of have to just kill Ashiok because you don't want him. What's underneath? Is that a Stormbreath Dragon?
I want to say it's a Thunderbreak.
Yeah, I think you just don't want it. I mean, although you could, because you do have Bowblight plus Magma Spray, but I don't think you want to let him have a free dragon. And if it's a 4-drop dragon, it gets the lead.
It's not even going to... Right, if it is Thunderbreak, it doesn't even die.
So I think you have to take it out.
Yeah, there you go. So it goes at Ashiok. It was a Stormbreath. So it would have died to put the Stormbreath in play, but it still seems good to kill it there.
Well, yeah, because if he has a counter spell and then you untap and try to Bowblight Magma Spray and he just counters your spell, it's pretty brutal. Wow. So Gerard had all lands and he was able to draw the Vault, which is going to exile, so you won't even get tokens off the Hangerback Walker, and it can get rid of the Outpost Siege, but he just got to dodge Paul drawing a Kolaghan's Command.
Right.
And he does have a Radiant Fountain to go back up to 18, and then Ashiok actually gained him 7 life by absorbing all that damage.
Actually, Paul can even Bioblight his Hangerback Walker.
Right, but then the tokens will be exiled.
Oh, sure, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I wish there was some way with like the exile on the stack, or
nope.
get around that.
No fun trick right there. You're right.
So I'm not sure. I guess Gerard's deciding which land, being very meticulous with it, but I think you just want to gain the life now. So Vault's 5 to activate, so he's 1 short of being able to activate. He's going to have to take 7 damage and fade to draw of a Kolaghan's Command.
Yeah, so Paul needs to find that Kolaghan's Command right here. Oh, wow!
That's the sickest, the second card off the Outpost Siege, and it's even like the worst part about it is like the slow roll. If it was the other order, at least Gerard would know what's coming. He has no idea that the Kolaghan's Command was drawn.
And Gerard can't do anything about it. Wow!
Gerard's feeling good. He's like, come on, no command.
They don't call him Lucky Cheon for nothing. Wow!
7, destroy the Vault and do 2 more and put Gerard at 9, and then he's going to have 3 land in hand. He's going to need to dig through time, and then be able to dig and find a Languish, and then a Bowblight. He's going to have to dig into Languish and Bowblight so that he can clean up the tokens. I mean, he's got some work to do.
Yeah, for sure.
If he goes for the Bowblight on the tokens, Cheon can just Magma Spray the token that he's targeting so that the other ones live. So he's got some work to do here.
Yeah, for sure.
I believe it starts with dig through time. And he even has enough mana to Kolaghan's Command and then follow up with another.
Oh, he can do both this turn,
well,
yeah.
I mean, I was going to say I don't think you'd need to, but the region's going to be exiled anyway, so you might as well just play it.
Yeah, that's true. It's just a free card, and you have the mana to do it, so...
Wow, yeah, someone in the chat pointed out something great. Gerard could have actually held the Vault until next turn.
To have turn... And that's what you were talking about earlier, too, to have the turn where you play it and pop it.
Have 9 mana. I said you can just play it and pop it at the same time. And had he held the Vault... He basically took a risk that he didn't need to take that would save him 4 mana next turn, because this play would require him to tap 5 mana next turn, but he could have just tapped 9. There's no real reason you'd want to leave up that 4 with an empty hand unless you drew something and you're counting on it, but he doesn't know that. So I think, yeah, it might have been a better play to just hold it.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Although I guess
that's a lot.
The flip side of that coin is if he hits a Thought Seize, if he rips a Thought Seize too, it gets you.
Oh, land doesn't really do it.
So he does go to 12, but with another Dash Dragon also, in addition to the 11 on the board.
Cleaning up these dragons is going to be so much work. It's just...
No, I mean, if he dashes in this Kolaghan here, that's just game.
I think he's going to do it. There you go.
So yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about, though, just about being the reactive deck and not having the right answers at the right time, and having, it just gets so clunky that I just don't think that's where I want to be in Magic right now, and I think the cards are designed to really kind of reward being active. I think people have found that those games are more fun than when you get these drawn-out control game matchups. So that's what we got to. That's what we saw happen. Hopefully, we get another 2 good games out of this.
How much differently do you think that game would have gone if Gerard would have played the vault the next turn?
Well, it's totally different, right? I mean, he plays the Kolaghan, he untaps, or not the Kolaghan, the Thunderbreak Regent. He untaps, plays 9 mana, pops it, but then he gets to dash in the Dash Dragon and attack for 5, 6. So he's got to deal with that dragon. So it's still tough. I mean, he's still going to have to find an answer in the next 2 draw phases to deal with the Kolaghan. So I'm not sure it changes too much, but I still think it probably was a better play. Although if he had done that and then Cheon ripped the Thoughtseize, he's going to probably be saying, "Wow, why didn't I just play my stupid, play my Vault?"
Right.
So it's
you
hard.
have answers to the dragon, so like buying yourself 2 more turns to do that. You still have to, yeah. And then you get rid of the Outpost each too. The Outpost is just a problem for you right here.
All right, so let's check out the sideboards. Let's check out Gerard's list first and see what we think comes in and comes out, because we know Paul's got lots to come out. So, this is Paul's list. So okay, here's Gerard's. So I think you definitely, if you're Gerard, you definitely want another Disdainful Stroke and a Languish, and probably the Foul Tongue Invocations, because it's nice to be able to kill a Thunderbreak Regent and not target it either. So you probably want those 4 almost certainly. Foul Tongue Invocation is a little weird versus Hangerback Walker, so I think that also makes you want to bring in the other Bile Blight. Although that doesn't kill much else in the deck, so it's kind of tough.
Yeah, it's interesting. He also has all these creatures, and it's a little iffy because if he brings some of them, and depending on which, he doesn't know what Paul's deck is going to look like post-board, so you can actually give a lot of targets for some spells that maybe you don't need to. But if Paul takes out everything that could potentially kill, like those Jaces, then you definitely wanted to bring them in.
So it looks like they're ready, but I'm just real quickly. So obviously I think you want to take out the Draconic Roars and the Magma Spray, and I think you're going to bring in the Duress, the Chandra, the Read the Bones. I'm not sure if you want Rabble Masters. I mean, if you don't think, you can, having more threats that you could just play 1 threat and leave on the board and force him to answer 1 for 1 as opposed to overextending, which Rabble Master is very good at. It's nice to have, but I don't know if that's where he wants to be.
Yeah, right, I mean, Goblin Rabble Master is definitely a threat that Gerard has to respect, so I can definitely see bringing it in.
All right, so Gerard's on the play. He's got a healthy mix of lands. He does have a Dig Through Time and a Languish for later to clean up, and a Hero's Downfall, so he's got a pretty solid hand. No early answers, no Clash of Wills. But let's see, in Cheon it does have a Thoughtseize. He doesn't have red mana though. He does have 2 double red spells and a Kolaghan's Command.
Oh, and he just drew another Swamp.
Yeah, so this has a chance. Although he knows, you can keep a hand like this because Gerard, unless he has a quick Ashiok, doesn't really have a way to sort of punish you for taking your time.
Yeah, the match is pretty slow, so it's not a huge deal.
It can be if eventually because you still need 2. 1's not good enough.
But this is Lucky Cheon. He's gonna draw a mountain. Look, it's coming right there.
All right, so
nope.
I guess he's here to make sure
he can play soon. Yep.
Yeah, he drew you want to Thoughtseize here to make sure he doesn't land an Ashiok, because if he lands Ashiok with this hand against nothing,
you just don't have a way to deal with it.
So he waited until turn 2, and a lot of newer players don't realize sometimes they'll just pop their Thoughtseize on turn 1 and not realize that if there's no 2-drop threat your opponent has, you want to play it the turn before their most common threat comes out, which in this spot is 3, so you want to play it before they have their 3rd mana. So you can wait a turn and give them an extra shot at drawing that card for you to take it out of their hand.
I mean, keeping this hand when he has both... Oh, that's not a red source. When he has both Thunderbreak and Stormbreath is pretty awkward. He needs to draw running mountains here.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Now it's a question of, do you just downfall the Hangerback while it's on 1?
I can definitely see that. Just not have to deal with this becoming a threat. You can see that Paul's kind of screwed.
Yeah, and you can just allow the 1/1 to kind of plink you for a while if you want it. He didn't do it, but I guess he can wait till he taps to upgrade it. Because you can always do later, you're going to languish eventually, and when you languish, you can clean up the board. But I guess he's holding his downfall in case he does cast dragons, but knowing that he's 2 mountains away from any dragon, I think I would just probably go ahead and get rid of it.
Yeah, definitely. And drawing Chandra there is definitely not what Paul wants to do right now. People in chat talking about Lavaborg, the red Urborg.
They should make one for every land. That would just be great. Great magic. All right, so he passed. Let's see if he's gonna. I guess, sort of level up the hanger back, and if he's going to respond or not.
He might kill it here. Oh, I guess not. There you go.
Interesting decision to not. And now with a mountain, here comes this outpost siege. He's going to be in trouble again. And he's got a Kolaghan's command for any volts that come out. So unless he gets to 9 mana like last time, he's not going to be able to get rid of this siege anytime soon. And this siege is going to really get him back in the game. So yeah, I mean, it was questionable keeping the all swamps, but like I said, if you have an opponent that's not going to punish you in any way, you know, there's no real hurry. You can take your time and not give up that card advantage, and you have a Thoughtseize to stop any kind of early Ashioks. And as long as
yeah, for sure. I think this is also why I like killing the hangerback way back then, because you had no pressure, and now this hangerback's actually doing things.
Right, Outpost Siege is bad enough when you're the control deck, but when Outpost Siege backed by sort of something else causing pressure on you, doesn't give you a lot of time to kind of find the answers.
Right.
Whereas if it was just Outpost Siege and a 1/1, you know, you have a little bit more time. So Gerard's going to dig, he's looking for a Volt, but it's pretty rough. I mean, it's almost like he needs a Volt and a Duress or a Thoughtseize.
Yes.
So it's 4 land, Dissolve, and Bowblight.
Yeah, so from what we hear, there were just not a lot of good options there.
So it's interesting that he took both Dissolves and not one of the Bowblights, so that when he kills the Hangerback Walker, he can kind of clean up
the rest. He can probably feel like he can just get rid of them with Languish.
Yeah, I guess what he wants to happen is, I guess, him to play his, a Mountain to come, Paul to play a Dragon, maybe kill both his threats, or kill the Hangerback, untap, and Languish, and get the threat and the tokens.
Also with, like, knowing how Paul's hand is going, and given that he hasn't had red the whole game, you know that all his hand is probably really good spells, like, probably a lot of threats, so I can see definitely wanting to just have Dissolves to take care of them when you already have ways to take care of that Hangerback Walker.
A lot of restraint here. He's going to let it resolve, and I think, like I said, he's probably going to kill the Hangerback and then untap and Languish.
And Languish, probably.
And if he has, he has an Urborg, so he'll have mana to be able to Languish with Dissolve backup.
Yeah, so it's going to work out really nicely for Gerard.
Excellent sequencing, but like we said, Outpost Siege is not going anywhere, and it's really hard to beat an Outpost Siege when it just keeps filling your hand with threats.
So what do you do here if you're Gerard? You clean it up and just hold up Dissolve?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you have too many more options. I mean, you definitely have to Languish here. You can't allow that Stormbreath Dragon to hit you again, or you can't allow him to use the 7th mana and monsterize it. So you've got to do that, and keeping up Dissolve is great. And luckily for him, Hero's Downfall has no threats, or no targets, so it's just kind of a blank here.
Yeah, the saddest downfall in the world. So what are Cheon's options here?
Well, you know, he can only play one of his spells because he only has 2 mana. And I think I just play a Thunderbreak Regent. I want to save my Stormbreath Dragons. I'd rather play my threats that, you know, I want my better threats last, because you know he most likely has a counterspell.
Right. Also, Stormbreath is really nice too. It's like pretty awkward for a Vault deck to deal with, because you kind of want to buy yourself a lot of time by killing all their stuff, and Stormbreath just comes in and hits pretty hard.
Right. So now I think he's going to Scry. I guess where Gerard can get to a stage where if he gets to 7 mana, he's able to play the Volt and leave up Dissolve mana to dissolve any Kolaghan's command, and then untap and, you know, pop the Volt. So the Kolaghan's, as long as he has that Dissolve and doesn't have to use it on something else, but he's most likely going to have to use it on this Stormbreath Dragon or this Chandra.
Right. Paul just keeps drawing 2 cards per turn, you know? Even things like this, even Haven gets back threats.
Yeah, Haven is just another dragon. Gerard is in a pretty bad spot. This matchup is not playing out like I thought it would on paper. Outpost Siege is just too good, I think. Without Outpost Siege, I think this matchup is not very favorable for the Dragons deck, but once Outpost Siege is resolved, it's just so hard for Gerard to deal with.
Yeah.
So let's see here. He's going to Murderous Cut and still leave open the Dissolve mana. He has to be sure not to get down to 1 card in hand either, because then he can easily, you know, get commanded. Although I guess he ends up commanding that, then it's a command he doesn't have for your Bolt.
Right. I was gonna say, I feel like Paul might just try to play it safe. Like this Outpost Siege is doing so much work. He's just better off trying to potentially hold on, unless he gets, like I said, down on 1 card.
Now this can get Gerard back in the game, and Ashiok, if he can hit like a dragon, which he did.
That is one. I think it's a Storm Breath.
Yeah, that is a Storm Breath Dragon. It's hard for me to be sure, but I'm pretty certain, yeah. Oh, he left himself with one card in hand. Yeah, so he's going to be forced to discard it.
Yeah, and I think this is definitely the correct turn to use it. It's just when you know that, one card left. Oh.
Well, it has the benefit, if you make him discard his card, you can also do 2 damage and redirect it to the Ashiok, which can keep him from putting into play the Stormbreath Dragon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a really good point.
But if he does cast it, then obviously Gerard is just going to choose to dissolve it so that he saves the 2 damage and gets the scry, as opposed to just letting it resolve.
I still think it's correct to use it right here, even though it's not going to work out that great for him.
Oh, yeah, of course. You don't know his hand, and you know he's got 1 card left. You might as well empty him out.
Ruh-roh.
And you get to keep him from putting Stormbreath into play off the Ashiok, which I think is the main reason to do it. Because you have no immediate answer to Stormbreath.
Right.
So he's going to go ahead and use his sack land so that when his scry, if he chooses to keep it on top, he's not forced to not be able to sack land before his draw phase anyways. Dissolve the command.
Land and land.
2 lands.
We haven't seen that many sideboard cards from Cheon either.
So yeah, he can get a free scry from his land. He can play a hanger back, which he knows Gerard has no hand, so that can't be answered. And he can Chandra if he chooses and ping his opponent, redirect it to the Ashiok to put it on 4 so that he can't play Stormbreath Dragon.
Right.
So he's got in play 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. So it's actually perfect that he has an even number, that he can even play the scry land and it doesn't mess up playing 4 mana for Chandra, 4 mana for Hangerback.
And for the Hangerback? Oh, but Stormbreath Dragon is a very, very good answer to this Ashiok right here.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even see that. I totally forgot about the Haven. Yeah, you just get Stormbreath Dragon and kill the Ashiok.
Right, and then now this isn't a problem anymore. Now Gerard really has to top deck something awesome out of this. He probably just like a dig, and what are you digging into? You need a vault. Maybe some more counter spells?
Yeah, Clash of Wills is a turn too late.
Whoa, that's pretty awkward.
Ashiok back up to 3. And there's another free dragon and a hero's downfall. Outpost Siege is just incredible.
Yeah, so this probably eats Clash right here.
So he played the card he knows as bait, and now he's able to play the Chandra if he chooses, or downfall. I mean, I think I would just personally attack the Ashiok, kill it, saving my downfall for future Ashioks, and just play my Chandra. Although maybe you want to just kill him.
Also, Gerard has Ugin, right? So it's a pretty good idea to keep it for Ugin.
Yeah, yeah. With that being said, I'd love to just hold on to it. So I think he's decided.
Yeah, I guess drawing Ugin is a really, really good out for Gerard too, because that's another way he can clean up that outpost siege, which is obviously causing him such a headache right here.
So with that being said, I want to keep the downfall for Ugin, and I would attack Ashiok, yeah, and then I would just.
Yeah.
I think I would just play my hanger back maybe, but because I want to get threats on the board, and now you're threatening to kill him faster. Whereas as Chandra, you're not really needing extra cards right now. You have the outpost siege giving you extra cards.
Right. It is also nice to follow up Chandra in case Gerard does find a way to clean it up, which he did, and he found a Thoughtseize.
Yeah, I mean, you can hold that in your hand for Ugin. Now, if Ugin comes, it doesn't kill the hanger back, and then you're able to play Chandra post Ugin and a hero's downfall.
Yeah, and then you're still in definitely the driver's seat in this matchup right now. So what do you take here, your Gerard?
I think I'd take the Chandra.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, because you're going to go to 13 and he has 6 damage, so if you can play Chandra, attack you for 6 and ping you, you go to 6 and then you're just dead next turn, whereas I guess monstrous, you're dead next turn anyways, but maybe he doesn't monstrous, maybe he doesn't want to tap out because of downfall, things like that. So
Yep.
you don't leave him with lethal without having to monstrous, without taking Chandra. So 7, 8, 9.
Yep, so Gerard has exactly one turn.
He does have the mana. If he drew Volt here,
If he draws Vault here, he can clean it. Doesn't really do it.
The dragon's too big, and the dragon itself is a 7/7, so Lango's
Right.
won't kill it. So that's going to be game.
Would have been fine maybe like a turn ago.
2 quick games.
Wow.
Both those games just showed how powerful Outpost Siege is.
Yeah, look at how much work that Outpost Siege did. Insane.
Well, your match is you play the winner of. You play Owen, or no, I mean you play Josh.
No, I'm gonna play Raptor.
Match, I mean, you play the Hangerback burn deck.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on your matchup?
I was trying it a little bit earlier. I think red is a pretty bad matchup for Mardu Dragons. You just like die by the time you're doing anything significant. But I think this matchup is a little bit slower because Hangerback is a little bit slower just by nature. So I think I'm a little better set up than the regular burn deck. But that being said, I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, I mean you've got a couple lifelink creatures, which I think helps. With the Soulfires and the Seekers. So
right, those are obviously very nice. I mean, they die to like everything that Josh is playing, so they're going to be collateral damage for sure. Hopefully one of them sticks.
If they're taking burn, you aren't.
Yeah, it's definitely true.
All right, well, we're going to take a short break and get set up for the next match. Good luck in your match against
Thank
Josh.
you very much.
I think it's going to be Marshall. I think I'm not on that match, so I'll be watching.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, we'll see you in a little bit, guys.
Awesome, sounds good. See you guys.